Okay, so hello everybody. I wanted to take you through a failed layout experiment that I recently worked on, in which I attempted to build a small 20 by 30 inch end scale layout out of foam core board and spray foam. So what I did here was I used a 20 by 30 inch white foam core board, laid out my track diagram on there, which I intended to use, as well as drew some contours on there, which I, for guides for cutting out, rivers and hills and so forth, that I had planned to use in my final design. And I did the diagram in AnyRail and then basically printed it out and taped it on here and showed where I was going to have hills and rivers and terrain and so forth. And so once I had done that, I went ahead and then worked on, from there, figuring out what I needed for all my profiles for the sideboards, as well as the support pieces in between, and basically drew all those on additional sheets of foam core. So I think I used about 5 sheets of foam core board in total. And then the idea is that everything would be cut out using a X-Acto knife and straight edge. I would be assembling everything using hot glue and a hot glue gun. And then I would be filling in all the voids with this new spray foam, which I saw at Home Depot, which is a high density spray foam. So unlike the Great Stuff foam, this is far more dense. It doesn't really have the big air pockets in it. So I thought I'd give it a try. It does seem to be, at least on the exterior, quite hard. And then I was going to play with shaping it with the Surfoam tool, and then doing some final scenery work with some spackling compound, and of course sanding it with a sanding sponge. And so I'll take you through here the overall process of how I put everything together. I went through and again cut out all the pieces with my X-Acto blade and straight edge. Assembled all the pieces once I had done that. Essentially, I was cutting out the track diagram on top and then assembling all the sides with some tape first to hold everything together, and then using a hot glue gun I assembled all the pieces permanently together, which was a quick way to get everything glued quite securely. And once I had finished all the pieces and support pieces in there, it was a very rigid structure just by itself without any spray foam added at all. Took a little bit of trial and error to get everything lined up exactly right, since I was using some grades of for the river and the road and so forth that I had planned to put in there. But you can see here pretty much how I had planned to have all the interior support work. And in reality, I could have just taken this stage right here and then gone on to using some crumbled up newspaper and plaster cloth, and that probably would have ended up working out pretty well for a nice lightweight layout. I went ahead here and used this new expanding spray foam, which is far more dense than what again the Great Stuff type foam is. And you can see here how it expands quite considerably. I used 3 cans, and pretty much it filled up it created a large mass of foam on all the sides. I tried trimming everything to get everything level on top so I could place the top piece of foam core board. You can see, unfortunately, after I had done that, there was a considerable amount of warping that took place on the underside of the layout. The problem with the foam core, the problem with the spray foam, is that it cures from the outside in, and this spray foam expands quite a bit. It's sort of like the high expanding Great Stuff foam, not the low expanding stuff. And so the problem is, it's being sticky like spray foam is, it will attach itself to whatever pieces of foam core board that it's touching, and initially everything will be fine, but then over the course of several hours, the interior area of the spray foam continues to cure and continues to expand, and the end result is that it becomes, for the most part, warped and bent and twisted out of shape and everything. So you really need to use this with an actual solid wood structure. But I went ahead and decided to use a Surfoam tool to see how well everything would shape, just using that for future reference, since I may go ahead and still use a spray foam for other layout projects in the future. And so it stands with a little bit more difficulty than regular foam does. The exterior of the spray foam makes a very hard shell, essentially. The inside then is actually quite soft. You can see here that the exterior is very solid and rigid. However, once you sand through that layer, the interior area is pretty soft and squishy, unlike the regular extruded foam, which is more dense. And that would essentially still be the better option for doing a small layout project like this, but I thought I would go ahead and try out the spray foam and see for the most part how that worked and whether it was going to be useful for a future project. But in the end, I'm scrapping this little project layout. I learned some lessons. I wanted to go ahead and share that with you and show you what I discovered, and in case you're looking at this kind of foam and wanting to try it out yourself. If I do see a low expansion version of this foam, I think that would actually be an ideal type of foam to use for scenery in certain situations where you need to fill in those gaps, and between other scenery materials, if you're using foam or whatever. And I think it could be a really good, valuable resource to have. But the high expansion stuff does make it a little bit more tricky to work with, since it does expand to many times its original volume when you put it down. And so you have to really take that into account ahead of time, which is difficult to do given how much it expands. So anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.